Hey everybody, and welcome to another hobby table. Hobby table is when I attempt to do some hobbying. Now in this video we are going to be building roaches from the Starcraft tabletop miniature game. We built the terrain, the link is in the description, and we built some zerglings, and that's also in the description. Now what we're going to do today is that we're going to build some, or at least attempt to build some roaches. And first we're going to have a look at the frames very quick and very briefly, starting with frame. Let me say right here, it says there frame number one of four, right? And as you can see, you have one and two frames here, two bodies here, and the carapaces that correspond to it. You get also other bits like this. This bits, as you will find out later, you can either use or you will replace with some other bits as well, depending on the kind of roach that you build. Right, so that's that these two on this frame. Now the next frame is this frame over here, and you get one extra roach. And this frame, if you were to look let's have a look over here, it says this is frame 2, right? Yeah, let me just show you right here. It's frame let me just zoom it right there, right? Part 2 of 4, and you get one more roach, and you can build it up, the carapace and stuff like the arms, and then you got options to build the roachlings in frame number 2. Okay, so you will either build this or not. Now if you build the normal roaches, then there's an option to not build these. But if you build the corpser, which is what I might most probably do, then these will be the ones that you build. These are the roachlings, and so I can have like 6 figures instead of 3. I'm going to go with that. Okay, now the third frame that I'm going to show you is this one. Is translucent frames in green, and these are all the parts. Now if you're going to build your corpser, you will need this frame, definitely need this frame, because all the like for example the claws, and then the little bits of, like I remember saying earlier, these bits that you can replace are all for the corpser. Now there's if you look closely, it says here that this is frame number let me see if I can get it. It's 4 of 4, right? So what's happened to frame number 3 or 4? I spent quite a while looking for this. Just very quickly, if you own the Founders Edition of the Starcraft, the miniature game, you will not receive frame number 3, right, for the roaches. Why? Because frame number 3 is actually for the Vile Roach, which is one of the options that you are not able to build with the Founders Edition. I thought that's kind of strange. I thought it'd be nice to have all of them, but yeah, I'm sure Archon Studios has a great plan for how they want to do this. But so yeah, so as you can see over here, these are the 3 frames, and the next time you see these frames, you probably see them assembled and painted, and I'll probably give you a recipe for it. I'm gonna try to keep things the same as the Zerglings to a certain degree. I'm not so sure whether to change the carapace color or the body color, but this will depend on my mood when I get to painting it. So that's pretty much it. That's the frame. Looked at up close, and now it's off to painting. I was really excited about painting the roaches. I knew from the start that I wanted to leave the translucent parts unpainted. My idea was that these roaches would represent a different strain of the Zerg. By keeping the body the same but changing the color of the carapace, I hoped they'd still feel like part of the swarm while standing out as their own variant. So I went with a yellow-green color scheme for the carapace and claws, while keeping the body purple. It didn't turn out the way I hoped. I even painted a second roach to see if the scheme would work better as a group. Unfortunately, it didn't. I left the 2 models on my workbench for several days, glancing over at them every now and then to see if they'd grow on me. They never did. Luckily, I hadn't glued the carapace in place yet, so I decided to just repaint them. So here we have the Copser variant of the Roach strain. This time I stayed much closer to the Zerg colors I used before and relied on the model's silhouette to distinguish it. I think that worked much better. Almost immediately I knew this was the right palette, not just for the roaches but probably for the entire swarm. As you can see, I left the translucent parts unpainted and I think they look fantastic. It also means I can now easily show anyone who's curious exactly where the clear pieces are attached to. The roachlings are basically smaller versions of the roaches. Looking back, I probably should have used them as the test models first. Then again, they don't have any translucent parts, so I might have made a different decision anyway. And here are all 6 models together, 3 Copser roaches and 3 roachlings. I'm really happy with how they turned out. One thing I like to say is this: if you're not happy with your paint scheme, don't be afraid to paint over it. Some hobbyists prefer to strip the paint and start from scratch, and that's certainly the ideal approach, but unless you're really motivated, it can be a lot of extra work. If you're painting thin coats, simply repainting over the existing layers would usually not obscure any of the detail. I really like this project. I think I might switch over to the Terrans next, just for a change. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.